Hey everybody, what's up? Colby from Sanitarium Productions. Today we're taking a look at the 2015 G.I. Joe Con exclusive TigerForce. I guess this is the Tiger Ray. It's the water moccasin version in the TigerForce colors. This is the sealed exclusive that was only available at the event itself. I did not actually get to attend the event, so I had somebody actually send me this. They sent me to the one that actually does not have the figure with it, and it is already open. Basically, they have opened it to take the figure out, but everything else is still sealed in the bag here. So I thought we would just, kind of go over this and take a closer look at it and see what it looked like. As far as the convention itself goes, it's a really awesome thing. I wish I could get to it one of these days, and I will. I wasn't really all that excited about this year's exclusive set when they first announced it. The TigerForce theme itself is kind of cool, but it just kind of didn't register with me too awful much. Most of the figures were just kind of meh for me. But once they actually showed these exclusives, the vehicle part of it, I got a little bit more excited about it. This particular one would normally come with the, I think his file card calls him Felino. I think he was like the Brazilian release of essentially what is the TigerForce version of Dusty. But again, I don't really have that figure here, so it's not really that big of a deal. But getting it in hand has kind of slightly changed my feeling about this thing. At least looking at the bag part of it, it really is starting to, spark some of my imagination a little bit more. So I'll probably end up trying to get a couple more of these. They actually released the TigerForce, I don't remember what they're calling it, but the Stinger version of the TigerForce Vamp. And they also released the Tomahawk helicopter, the Eagle Hawk, I guess is what they're calling it, in the TigerForce Deco. And I'm actually pretty interested in getting a hold of that, so we'll see how well that goes. They're kind of going for a pretty high price right now, so I may have to end up biding my time on that and just try to get it under the price range I'm wanting to pay for it. But all that stuff aside, what we're looking at today is the water moccasin version of it, so stick around and we'll tear into this thing and see what it looks like up close and personal. This is how it comes from the factory, sealed in this nice clear plastic bag. Tiger Sharc with Felino. As we stated before, this one kind of already was opened by the previous owner to pull out the actual Felino figure, but it's not going to stop us too much. It's very cool overall. I do wish they would start putting these in like boxed versions, but I do understand they're trying to keep their costs down as well, so I can't really fault them for that. So all we're going to do is just go ahead and open the bag the rest of the way. Let's see what's in here. So inside the shipping bag, I guess you could say, comes the actual Tiger Sharc itself in another sealed bag. And it's just held in place by this little piece of tape here. Again, they're trying to cut down on packaging costs, and can't really blame them there, so it's cool. So let's just go ahead and slice this thing open. Unroll it. And now we have the actual vehicle itself, along with the accessory bag, which is also taped shut. So one more bag to open. It's like Christmas, or one of of those little wooden doll things that you have that's you got one really big one, then you open it up and there's a small one and another one and another one and another one. Sometimes what these things feels like to me. But it's cool. Let's see what accessories. Quite a big lot here. So we've got the the turret, a couple of the engine covers, the gun, the hatch covers, this big missile launcher, looks like the propeller, the wind thingies, and then here is this cool thing, the rest of the propeller and a missile. So it's kind of cool. There are no instructions that come with this thing, so we're just going to have to kind of put this together best we can. Some of it's pretty simple to figure out, some of it we may have to kind of work on with that. The easy thing, we've got the actual turret system here. There's a little peg here in the bottom, and inside of this there's also a peg hole, so that lines up pretty easily. Just pop that in place and you just kind of rest in there, and then it just allows that to spin to wherever you want it to spin to. The hatch here does open up somehow. Take this out for a second. Just pops right off. Again, this is the same mold that they've used for the 25th anniversary water moccasin, so if you have one of those, you're used to how this stuff should work. And it's sometimes easier to pop in the back side first and then press down on the front to get this hatch to lock into place. Then we've got the hatch covers. So let's put this back on there. Since we're doing that, let's go ahead and add the actual missile itself, the gun. There are 2 peg holes on the side of this thing, here and here, and just a couple of peg holders there in the front. So you just kind of squeeze a little bit and kind of push in on this, and it should just pop right into place and snap in there. Then it rotates up and down. So there's the gun system. Looking at the hatch covers, they are exactly the same, or they appear to be exactly the same. They're actually just mirror images of one another. And if you'll notice, there is a little bit of a slope on the front, and if you look at where the actual hatch covers go into place here, you can kind of see that it kind of flares out right here on each side. So these are meant to go on only one side, so we've got this one here. The flare goes to the front of the ship and it just snaps into place. So snappy snappy. And again on the second piece, it flares to the front. Pretty simple. Then we've got the actual engine cover itself, which is pretty cool looking. And it just snaps into place here in the rear. Now as far as which way this should actually orient, I don't really know. I guess it could go either way. So let's just try it and see. It kind of looks a little silly that way, so we're going to flip it around so that the fat end of the detail work is towards the front of the ship. And there's no real rhyme or reason to that. I just think it looks a little bit better that way. Don't know if it's right, but that's the way it is. Next, let's take a look at the propeller system. We have these 2 red steering vanes, I guess is what they are. And the actual propeller itself, it's made so that there is more space towards the top than there is at the bottom. So you want to kind of orient it so that the little bar across here is towards the bottom. And the way I've seen this done in the past is this piece that goes on the actual steering vanes typically goes on the bottom. And if you look real close on the actual vane itself, there's a little marking here. There's a R on one side and an L on the other side. So use that to kind of orient yourself. And then there are just pegs on each of these and peg holes on this part at the top and bottom, and they just snap into place. And they're pliable plastic, so you don't have to worry too much about breaking these things. You should be able to kind of just muscle it into place, and they just snap into place like that. Then they go left and right, however you want to do it. Then if you take a look at the actual back of the ship, you can see there is this propeller rod that sticks out, and then at the bottom there are two notches. They correspond to these little tabs on the back of this yellow box here. And then the propeller rod will just go into this hole right here in the center. And it just should just snap in place here. And you may just have to apply a little bit of force to get it to go in there. Because it is a pretty tight fit, but it just snaps in place like that. And it should mount flush once you actually get it snapped into place. Then the last piece is this big propeller. As you can see, there is a peg hole in the back of it, and it's kind of a semicircle. There's a circle with a notch cut out on it. That will line up with the way that this propeller rod is. So you just match up the notch cutout with the cutout on the propeller rig. And we should have done that first because it's kind of tight to get it in here after you actually snap in these steering vanes. So here, we're just going to pop these off real quick, just to give us a little bit of extra room here. So just line up the half circle, and it will only fit on one way, so if you don't have it on correct, it won't push in all the way. But once you get it in place, there's this little rotary thing here. You spin it with your finger, and then the propeller itself spins. And it spins pretty well, so that's how that works. Then we're just going to reattach our steering vanes. Just make sure they turn left and right, and that still spins. And there you have your completed Tiger Sharc TigerForce version. So yeah, it's actually pretty cool. There is also this kind of neat accessory here, this big cannon missile launcher piece. You load the missile, you press the button, it shoots the missile. It's cool. Now the way this works is these main cannons on the front will actually pop out. So just pull up on them until that little piece just pops out, and there's a peg hole right here in the center. The peg on this missile launcher actually just fits in place right there, and you can swap out the traditional cannon with this big missile launching cannon. So it's going to be whichever one you prefer. Myself, I'm not really that big on this thing here. It kind of looks a little weird. I like the vintage look of these cannons here, so I'm just going to stick with them. And you just kind of just press down on it to get it snap in place, and it's good to go. Then you can always, you know, just stick this on the back somewhere so you have it and pretend like it's mounted to something if you really need to use it. But most of the time it's just going to be discarded to the side. So there it is. There's the completed version of the Tiger Sharc. We'll do a 360 view on it here in a few minutes here, up close. But looking at it from the side here, it's got some very nice detail work on it. This particular one has a little bit of factory kind of gunk on it here at the very front. But I really like the overall color scheme that they use with the TigerForce here. It makes this thing pop really well, the bright yellow with the actual tiger stripes. Then looking at the bottom of it, you'll notice that there is the old vintage version of this little recon sled that will pop out. I never really had much use for this thing, but it's kind of a cool little hidden little thing. But again, I've never used it before in my old one, so I don't know if I ever will in this one, but it's nice that they included it this time. Looking at the ship itself, you've got 2 feet pegs at the back on each side, so that we could hold potentially 4 figures here. You can hold 1 in the turret, 1 in the cockpit. There are also 2 figure pegs at the very front of the ship, so you can hold 2 more figures up here for a total of 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 figures total. Now, this thing would be a little weighed down with 8 figures on there, but you can do it, so that's kind of cool. And just for a size comparison, again, I don't have the driver that came with it because I bought this secondhand and got it at a pretty discounted price because of the fact that it is missing the driver. So we're going to substitute in our trusty beachhead for size comparison wise. You can see it's about as wide as the figure itself, and then 1, 2, 3.5 figure lengths long, and then figures sits in there and stand on the foot pegs, so it all works pretty well. So overall, this is a really nice update to the TigerForce line. I do wish they'd release a couple of more characters at retail so we can get them. That's the big complaint I have about the convention set itself, is that they're just so hard to get. I think this one was a limited run of, I want to say 800. And pretty much if you weren't at the convention, you're not going to get one unless you are willing to pay about double the original price. Sometimes triple, and sometimes even higher than that. It is what it is, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. It's nice that they don't go with too many of the main characters as part of these convention sets. It's nice that they do kind of these secondary knockoff, well, I shouldn't say knockoff, but the secondary lines of the figures, so the TigerForce repaints and things like that. I didn't think I was going to like this as much as I did, but when I got it in here, it's pretty damn cool. So I will most definitely try to get a hold of the Vamp TigerForce version and the Eagle Hawk with the TigerForce. So there we are. Highly recommended. So there we have the 2015 G.I. Joe Club Convention exclusive Tiger Sharc. Like I said before, it's actually a pretty awesome vehicle. The color scheme just works really well. It really surprised me at how much I actually like this now that I actually have it in hand. So if you can get a hold of one, I recommend picking it up. They are a limited run, so you may have a little bit of trouble getting a hold of one, but it may be worthwhile to check it out if you can. As I said, it did come with this crazy little missile launcher thing that really doesn't have much use for it. But overall, it's pretty great. So there you go. Subscribe below. Check out some of our past videos. Look for more videos coming up in the future. If you have any comments, things you would like to see us do, let us know. Until next time, Yo Joe.